So you guys could be sitting on a mountain of gold right now and not even realize it. And the longer you've been playing this game, the more likely it is that you are actually sitting on that mountain. So what I'm actually referring to here is your crafting surveys, okay? So these are different from your daily crafting writs. They're actually rewards that drop from your daily crafting writs. And I'm sure all of you guys have had the daily crafting writ videos shoved down your throat 100 times by every YouTuber on this platform. So you'll probably have a few of these lying around. And although they're often overlooked, essentially what these do is show you a location on the map anywhere in Tamriel. And if you go to that location, you'll basically be rewarded by finding a spawn of enhanced nodes. So that would look like essentially 6 enhanced platinum nodes, for example, and you would get, you know, between 18 and 56 of this node whenever you harvest it. Now we're going to be looking at completing these, how profitable they are, how quickly we can do them, and if they're actually worth doing. So make sure you stay to the end of the video to get to the full analysis, alright? Just taking a quick second here out of the video, guys, to promote our new website. So J-Clips and myself have come together to make a website, basically called ESOhelper.com. There'll be a link to that in the description for you guys to click and check out. Essentially, it's going to be all guides written by myself and Jake, okay? No one else is going to be contributing to this website. It's just me and Jake. And all the information on here is going to come from us. So people you know, people you trust, people you like, people you watch, all going to have all of our information on this website. So we've got quite a lot of things on here. Like we have endless amounts of gold guides right here. We have updates on all the vendor rotations done by Jake. We have event guides. We're going to have monthly login rewards, things like that. And we have a character checklist. So anyone starting out the game who's not really sure what to do, you know, Jake's made a pretty detailed guide here on exactly what you guys need to be doing, all the way from level 1 to CP 160. And there's so much more on the website, guys, so give it a wee check out, okay? So what we're going to look at now is a bit of setup that we have to do for these, okay, or else they're not going to be worth our time doing. So the first thing we want to do then is get all of our crafting skill lines to level 50, and we want to max out, for example, metalworking in every single one of these skill lines. Basically just the one passive that allows you to use the top tier material in that skill line, right? Reason for that is that this directly impacts the nodes we see on our crafting surveys. So if we have, for example, a jewelry crafting survey and we have max level in the jewelry crafting passive, it's going to allow us to find platinum, right? Which is the most expensive one of the nodes. Whereas if we didn't have any passives in at all, we're going to be finding Puther Dust, which is quite a lot cheaper. Now, it is a 50% chance just by having that we're going to see platinum instead of the other dust. If you also get your character to champion point 160, this is going to give you the other 50% chance to get the highest tier node. So combining your, for example, metalworking passive with your CP 160 character, essentially you're going to be getting 100% chance to actually spawn the top tier node, or that would be Rubedite in this case. Now, I would also recommend saving your surveys until you get to CP level 450. Now, that might seem high if you've just played the game, but it doesn't take too long to get there, and it is definitely worth saving them for this reason. So at CP 450, you can get yourself a passive called Plentiful Harvest. Now, this is in the green tree of the CP, and it essentially gives you a 50% chance to double the amount of materials you get per node. So obviously, whenever you're dealing with these very expensive nodes, like a platinum spawn, something like that, you can essentially double it. You really want to take advantage of that. There's no reason why you wouldn't want to have a 50% chance at doubling your money. So definitely get this passive before starting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over all of these surveys. I'm going to complete one of them. I'm going to show you exactly what I get from them, how much those materials are, how much profit I made, and roughly how long it took. So the first one we're going to look at here is going to be alchemy, okay? So when we're looking here, we've got a couple of flowers around, but none of them are very expensive. Now, a lot of you guys probably think you have to just pick these up and just take what you're given, and that's essentially it, alright? But there's actually another alternative to this. So what you can do is just run a little bit out of sight of this node. Pretty much just run for like 5-10 seconds in one direction, run straight back to the node, and they'll all be reset. Now, the significance of this is that most flowers tend to be worth around 40-50 coins, alright? Whereas if you can actually make it so as you can reset this to have 3 or 4 different flowers all being Columbine, you stand to make quite a lot more, because Columbine on my server anyway are around 550 coins per one instead of the 40 or 50 coins these other flowers are worth. So substantial difference in price there. So I'm just going to harvest this one. Okay, now I'm going to be getting 18 Columbine in total and 28 Dragon Thorn. So I'm just doing it for the purpose of the video. If I was trying to make the money from this, I would definitely reset a little bit more Columbine. So just to break down the figures here in terms of the alchemy survey, basically we got 18 Columbine, which is 566 coins each on my price checker, which means we made 10,188 coins just in those nodes. And in terms of Dragon Thorn, we made significantly less. So we had 28 Dragonthorn, 45 coins each. We got 1,260 coins total. So if you add this both together from our alchemy survey, we got 11,448 coins. So in terms of time, it really only takes you about 30 seconds to gather all of the resources, okay? For alchemy uniquely, if you're trying to reset it, it can take a little bit longer, but generally it is worth the resets because you can stand to more than double or triple your money. So in terms of platinum, we don't reset this one at all. It's always just going to spawn as platinum if you follow the setup the way I showed you. So essentially, we are looking at getting 192 platinum here, and those are 92 coins each, which means that from this one survey, we've made 18,432 coins, and that's pretty significant. And in my opinion, I think this is probably the top survey you can be doing, is your jewelry crafting ones, alright? So next up, we have our blacksmithing crafting survey, where we're going to be getting, again, just rubidite ore. There's no need to reset this at all. And I got 186 rubidite ore from this. Those were 29 gold each, and I was able to get basically 5,394 coins from this one. So you're basically making about 4 times the money from the jewelry crafting surveys than you do from the blacksmithing ones. Next up, we had our clothier surveys, okay? So you can reset these a little bit. There's not too much point to doing it because there isn't a huge difference in price. So we got 112 Ancestor Silk. We got 2,912 coins just from that section. We then got 108 Rubido Hide Scraps, which basically nets us 3,780 coins, meaning from our entire clover survey, we got 6,692 coins. So in terms of enchanting nodes, again, really, whenever you're doing these, the only thing you're mostly looking out for is a Kuda, alright? So there's a couple of little nodes in here with a couple of 100 coins, but a Kuda can be worth like 3 to 4k, so really you're just hoping to get 1 or 2 of those every single time. So whenever I did this, I did not actually get a single Kuda. I got a couple of different ones like a Rikuta or things like that, or Vakipa. Not really too expensive, but in total, this enchanting survey was worth 2,952 coins. That easily could have been over 10k if we got 2 Kudas, but again, this one's a lot more RNG based than the others. So we then had our woodworking survey, and that basically got us 166 pieces of ruby ashwood, and those were 24 coins each. So that basically means that we made 3,984 coins from that. So after completing one survey for every single one of the skill lines, so 1 alchemy, 1 blacksmithing, 1 clothier, 1 enchanting, 1 jewelry, and 1 woodworking, we were able to get ourselves a total of 48,902 coins from everything that dropped, alright? So if we're going to take that number, 48,902, okay, and we're going to say it took us roughly 15 minutes, maybe a little bit less, we're going to be looking at around 200,000 coins per hour. And let's just remember that that is literally just me going to different locations for a different version of the survey, doing even the worst ones, alright? Say for example, like I mentioned at the start of the video, you're someone who's been playing for, 5-10 years, you've never done a survey because you don't really know what they are, you don't really know that they're profitable, you've just sort of thrown them in the bank, you've just held them on a character, whatever, right? Say you have, 10, 15 jewelry crafting surveys sitting on a character, and say if they happen to be for the same place, okay, so they're all in, for example, North and elsewhere, whatever, you can basically go to that node, harvest it, do about a 5-second run away, 5-second run back, the node will respawn again, okay? So that's you making 40k in about 2 minutes time. So if you're able to do that multiple times, like 10 times for example, you can make 400k in literally probably 10 minutes, right? So it's just that kind of thing. This is a video that's going to be really helpful for people who either don't know what surveys are, people who have a lot of surveys lying around, and just for people who do their crafting rigs and just don't really tend to do these things on the side, right? So just a couple of personal recommendations then at the end is just, I would probably wait until you have all the setup there. So, 450 CP, definitely before you start this. And I would also wait till you have a couple of each survey in each location. Just makes it a lot faster. It just makes your time a little bit more worthwhile. Because I'd say the traveling between zones and different locations is literally what takes out the most time. Actually harvesting the node doesn't take much time at all. So the good thing about surveys is that all these materials are pretty sought after. They sell pretty well. Probably within a day, 2 days, you're going to have sold everything that you harvested. So pretty quick moneymaker in terms of actually getting the money in your hand. So I would say this is a good little thing to do whenever you got a bit of downtime, whenever you just have a big stack up of these surveys, either one, alright? So it's not something I would say is a go-to hourly moneymaker, but I do think it's worth your time doing them, especially your jewelry crafting and your alchemy ones. So if you enjoyed learning about the crafting surveys, you might enjoy learning about where you actually get those to drop, and you can check out my daily crafting rig video here for more information on that one.